Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to our little corner of hope and healing. I'm so grateful you're here with me today because what I'm about to share with you, well, it might just change the way you think about what's possible in life. The doctor looked across the table and said the words no one ever wants to hear. 3 months, maybe 6 if you're lucky. That was 34 years ago. Today, that same man just finished his morning run at 103 years old. This story is inspired by real events, though I've changed some details to protect privacy while preserving the emotional truth of this incredible journey. Meet Mike, a retired engineer from Ohio, who at 69 faced not one, but 2 devastating diagnoses: colorectal cancer and arthritis. The cancer was aggressive, the prognosis grim, and conventional medicine offered little hope. But before I tell you how Mike defied every expectation, let me take you back to before his world turned upside down. Mike lived what most would call a typical American life. He worked as an engineer, enjoyed his evening martinis, ate the standard American diet: meat, dairy, processed foods. His mornings were filled with the usual routine: coffee, breakfast, off to work. Weekends meant relaxing, maybe some light activity, nothing too strenuous. Sure, he'd noticed some joint stiffness creeping in, dismissed it as getting older. The occasional fatigue, just stress from work. Like so many of us, he brushed off the whispers his body was trying to tell him. But then came that day in 1992 when those whispers became screams. What started as persistent digestive issues led to test after test, until finally the devastating news: colorectal cancer, advanced, aggressive. The arthritis diagnosis followed shortly after, as if his body was collapsing from multiple directions at once. Mike found himself staring at a future that seemed to be measured in months, not years. Can you imagine? At 69, being told your story was essentially over. The fear, the confusion, the desperate search for answers. His wife had already passed away, leaving him to face this battle alone. Every morning became a question mark. Would this be one of his last? The medical team laid out the conventional path: aggressive chemotherapy, radiation, managing the arthritis with powerful medications that came with their own frightening side effects. The treatments that were supposed to save him felt like they were stealing what little quality of life he had left. Mike watched friends go through similar treatments, saw how they suffered, how the cure sometimes seemed worse than the disease. He felt trapped between a cancer that was trying to kill him and treatments that made him feel like he was dying anyway. The arthritis made everything worse. Simple movements became mountains to climb. Getting out of bed, opening jars, walking to the mailbox, daily activities that healthy people take for granted became painful reminders of his declining condition. Night after night, Mike lay awake wondering, is this really how my story ends? Then something shifted. Call it desperation, call it intuition, but Mike made a decision that would change everything. He picked up a book called The Cancer Prevention Diet and began studying something most doctors weren't talking about: the healing power of food. This wasn't about trendy superfoods or expensive supplements. Mike discovered the macrobiotic approach: simple, whole plant foods that had nourished humans for thousands of years. Instead of fighting his body with harsh chemicals, what if he could heal it with nature? The transition wasn't easy. Giving up his comfort foods, his evening martinis, the familiar tastes of a lifetime. But as Mike began eating brown rice, steamed vegetables, beans, simple foods prepared simply, something remarkable began to happen. At the same time, grief over losing his wife led him to start running. Not marathon running at first, just moving his body, processing his emotions through motion rather than martinis. The changes didn't happen overnight. Week by week, month by month, Mike noticed small improvements. The joint pain that had made mornings agony began to ease. His energy slowly returned. Blood tests showed markers moving in the right direction. 2.5 years after his terminal diagnosis, doctors found something incredible. No signs of cancer metastasis. The tumor that was supposed to kill him had become operable. Surgery successfully removed what was left. But Mike didn't stop there. He kept running, kept eating those simple whole foods. The arthritis that had crippled his movements continued to fade. By his 70s, he wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. Mike began entering races. 10Ks became marathons. His simple daily routine of oatmeal with blueberries for breakfast, beans for lunch, steamed broccoli with a bit of ketchup for dinner became the foundation for something extraordinary. Today, at 103, Mike holds multiple world records for marathon running in his age group. He still does pull-ups and push-ups. He runs 5 miles 3 times a week. The man who was given 3 months to live has lived over 3 decades beyond that deadline. Mike's message isn't that everyone should abandon medical care. It's that we have more power over our health than we might think. He shows us that food can be medicine, that movement can be healing, that it's never too late to change course. I listened to my body, respected nature, and never gave up on movement. Mike says, that's what healed me. His story reminds us that our bodies have an incredible capacity for healing when we give them what they need: real food, regular movement, rest, and connection with nature. Thank you for sharing this incredible journey with me. If Mike's story touched your heart, or if you've walked a similar path of healing, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more stories of hope and resilience. Your support means the world to me, and it helps these important stories reach others who might need to hear them. Until next time, remember, it's never too late to write a new chapter in your story.